So I've got a question for you today. Why are you always afraid? Why am I so fearful? Why do I feel anxiety or panic attacks about life or about things in general? Have you thought about that? Listen to what Sadhguru has to say to Mike Tyson, heavyweight boxer, who says he's always afraid. Let's learn from them.
All my life I thought I was this tough guy, and I do all this stuff all my life because I'm afraid. And if you tell me what I'm afraid of, I can't even tell you what. Why am I afraid?
So, fear is not about something. Fear is just your inability to manage your thoughts. They are running away ahead of you. Fear is always about something that's yet to happen, isn't it?
Yes.
So that means you are suffering something that does not exist. But 99% of the human population is in this condition, they are suffering things which do not exist. What happened 10 years ago, they still suffer. What may happen day after tomorrow, they already suffer. Two major faculties that you have which sets you apart distinctly from other creatures is, you have a very vivid sense of memory and a fantastic sense of imagination. These two faculties, which are the best things you have, this is what most human beings are suffering. They are suffering their memory and they are suffering their imagination. If you manage this one the way you want, where is the question of fear, suffering, misery, all this? This is not because of situations. This is because of the state we are in. Because no investment has been made for the being.
Sadhguru is one of my teachers and I love him so much. You know, the resonance and the peace that he exudes, the fact that he can live life on his own terms is something that I really want to emulate. You know, see him speaking about fear and how 99% of us, you know, worry about nothing. And it's nothing, you know why? Because it actually doesn't exist. Anything that you're afraid of is because of a vivid imagination that you have of something, and your imagination is not real. It is only in your mind. It's not happening right now. If it was happening right now, you will not be afraid. It's almost like you go somewhere, you see somebody shouting, and immediately you project a picture of, as he's shouting, he can walk to me and slap me, steal my bag. You've already created a picture, and that's what's making you scared. Not the shouting or the person. It's the possibility of, you send your children somewhere, you then sit down and start to create, oh my goodness, what if he was kidnapped? What if they stole him? What if they carry him? And you already run away with your imaginative perception or your imaginative powers that God has given to you. And then you stay in a place of fear, because fear, they say, is false experiences appearing real, right? So it's false, but it appears real, but it's false. And it's false because it's in our minds. Same thing with the memory. You see, oh, the last time I went to the market, my bag was stolen from me. So now, today, I'm thinking I want to go to the market. I'm thinking about going to the market, or people are going to the market, I want to go with them. I remember that the last time I went, they stole my bag, and then I project that the next time that I'm going to go, they will steal my bag. And then I start to have anxiety and palpitations, and then I'm sweating, I'm stooling, and then my whole system is all over the place. You become a nervous breakdown is what they call it. But the truth is, you're the one creating it. You are the director, you are the cameraman, you are the audio technician, you are the script writer, you are the producer, you are the one that will sit down in the theater of your mind and watch the script that you have created and cry by yourself. And then you will now market that cry and that fear to other people. And then it keeps going round and round and round. One of the things that I tell people that I don't do is I don't watch the news at all. And I work with a news channel. Let me allow that sink in. I work with a 24-hour news channel. And I don't watch the news. In fact, my husband, when he wakes up in the morning, the first thing he does is puts on the television to the news channel. And he can watch it the entire day. What do? I have my headphones on my ear and I leave the room. Or I have my headphones on my ear and I'm doing stuff around and not watching it. And when I'm done and I see that he said, I leave the room for him and go somewhere else, because at least I can control how I choose to respond to that situation. And we all have that power. I don't listen to the news at all. So when people now say, oh, so how do you know what's happening in places? I say people will tell me. By the time I'm hearing it, it's secondhand. I'm not taking it in firsthand. Because I've never seen anybody watch the news and shout, say, yes, I'm ready to face the world. There's so much goodness out there. Most of the things in the news, I call it television. On television, tell a lie with a vision. A lot of them are false. It's skewed to whoever is telling the story, number one, because sometimes they're looking for how to be sensational, right? So they will create all kinds of headlines for you to be sucked in, and then you get sucked in, and then you're wondering, you now start to imagine all kinds of things and start to worry. I'm not looking for problems, so problem is not looking for me, is what I tell people. Oh, they are kidnapping or they are stealing. So I'm not looking for thieves, so thieves are not looking for me. So I walk on the streets of the world feeling comfortable and I'm okay. Now, is it possible for something negative to happen? Possible. But I'm not going to preempt it and I'm not going to wait for it. If it does happen, we will deal with it when we get there. But I'm not going to start suffering for something that is non-existent today, because pain might be inevitable, but suffering is a choice. And I choose not to suffer. And that's all fear is. That's one side of fear. There's another side of fear. And I think fear is also very necessary. Because if you are not afraid, you will walk on the street, you will not look left, you will not look right, you will just cross, and then what happens to you? If you're not afraid, you will put your hand inside fire consistently. What happens to you? If you're not afraid, you will jump into the ocean without knowing how to swim. What will happen to you? If you're not afraid, you will go to your ceiling and believe you can fly and jump down. What will happen to you? So we need a measure of fear. Now, fear also is your friend. Fear also could possibly be telling you that you're not completely ready for a mission you're about to embark on. If you're having exams and you start to feel fear, what if it's telling you that you're not very prepared for the exams, you still need to go back and study something else? What if? So just like there might be a negative, and I always like to look for the polar opposites of any situation. Just like there could be a negative of fear being something that we have created in our head, fear could also be our friend, and it's there to also support us and to help us, so that they're like boundaries for us not to cross, not just us, but everybody around us. But I say, what if we had love? What if it was love? What if I loved you and not worried that you would hurt me? What if? What if I saw somebody do something wrong and I walked up to the person and just hugged the person? What if? I don't know. I feel like love will go further, faster, and better. I feel so. And so whenever I feel I used to say to people, I worry about nothing. Then I realized one day that I was actually worrying about my marriage. And I'll sit down and, I will consistently conjure situations that will happen. And one day I started to realize that I started to feel one side of my head just heavy for no reason. And I realized that I had bottled up so much of that fear of a future that couldn't happen, that I was imploding. And now I was exploding. And immediately I said to myself, if this thing doesn't work, then it's not meant to work. And it was one aspect of my marriage. I just was afraid to be abandoned because I felt like I was abandoned by other people. So rather than loving freely, I was holding and shielding myself and covering myself so that I would not be hurt or abandoned yet again. And the moment I dropped that, I said to myself, there's no need to be worried about anything. You know exactly what to do. Rather than worry, create. And so I went straight into my creating mode and I started to create pleasant scenarios and pleasing scenarios and loving scenarios that started to get me feeling better. And that headache or that heaviness in my head disappeared and dissipated because I started to do differently. And so the truth is, I know better, so I always want to do better. I hope that you find your own place as well. It all started for me because I chose to heal. It all started for me because I chose to get off and look at why my emotions and understand it and feel it and then deal with it and then heal it completely so that I can walk around in peace. And that's why I know exactly what to do when I'm feeling uncomfortable. I start to ask myself questions. What were you thinking? That's the first thing I ask myself. What did this thing do for you? What did this thing mean to you? What did you make it mean? How can you change it around, right? Those are the active things I do to always find myself in a place of love rather than in a place of fear. Try it out today, okay? Love and light.